Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Heroes Havens podcast. My name is Jake Hernandez, and I have an intro. So last time I obviously didn't have an intro, and I kind of just got into it, was very nervous, and decided just to talk. And then eventually I would go back and I would film the intro. And as you can see, I never did that. So here we are, just getting the ball rolling. And the first thing I would like to do is talk about my goals for the podcast and give a huge shout out to Rich Clayton, Martha Clayton, and Frank Panion. Without them, they wouldn't have encouraged me and pushed me to kind of do something that they thought that I could do. I never would have left my comfort zone, and I want to thank them personally. Me to you three, thank you. I'd also like to thank Karina for helping me out last time with setting up the podcast and filming the podcast and kind of giving me her honest feedback on things and kind of helping me become a little better and get to my highest potential that I could be. So thank you, Karina. And without further ado, let's talk over the goals that I have for the podcast. So before 2026, in a short-term goals, within the next 5 months, I would like to have 100 YouTube subscribers. I think with the community I have when it comes to gaming and the community I have when it comes to friends, family, and the work environment that I have is such a beautiful culture. I think this is a doable thing. I think if 100 people tell me that I can do something in this small realm of the city that I live in, I think I could branch out and hit that next milestone of maybe taking this long term and seeing where I can go with this. That was a spoiler. Another goal that I have it's a very broad goal, but I would like to establish one professional contact. So whether that's someone within the movie reviewing or podcast community, other than Rich Clayton and Frank Panion, shout out to People Pines Possibilities podcast. But I want to develop a contact or a friend inside the scene in the trade and really like be able to talk to them about the things that they do and the things that they want and expectations, and just kind of see what it's really like and make a friend inside that said contact. And some long-term goals I have. I think this is a life goal for me, outside of just a podcast goal, but I would love to be invited to attend a world premiere. I think it would be such an honor and a blessing to be able to get an invite for someone and say, hey, you know what? December 18th, 2026, I want you to come to Los Angeles or New York City and watch Avengers Doomsday with the cast, the crew, and other people that are inside this community. And it's a dream of mine. I would love to do that. Another one I want to have is I want to hit 22 podcast episodes. I want to be one of the 1%ers. Frank Panion told me that 1% of 1% of 1% equals 22. That math doesn't check out, but 22 podcast episodes is the official 1% mark when it comes to podcasting. And I want to do it. I want to give myself something to look forward to and aim for. And this is very much a passion project for me. So let's see where we can go. 22. That could be the finish line, or that could be the beginning of something great. But either way, I'm here for the ride. And then this number is just a number. I just picked one to say maybe in the future I could look back and say, wow, we did it. But 50,000 YouTube subscribers, I think, is the long-term goal as well. I think if I ever hit 50,000 YouTube subscribers, I will know in my heart that what I'm doing is the right thing. Not that I don't think I'm doing that now, because I think pursuing what I want to pursue is the right thing to do, always, if it's not hurting others. And it would be a full circle moment to go from wherever that is and look back to right now here inside my kitchen filming, and I'd be really proud of myself. And that is something I want to achieve one day. Another thing that I want to achieve is some guests. I very much want to have my friends on here, but I also want to keep this very, very professional, and I want to have these guests that were the first guest. I guess I'll just start with that. These are the people that I emulate this podcast after. I want to talk about the things they talk about. I want to talk in the way they talk about things. I want to be friends with these guys. But the Escape Pod podcast is what got me into the thought of podcasting. They do such a well job of talking about the things they talk about, and they're nerds just like me. They're Star Wars, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Marvel, DC, these independent films that have just things they're invited to see and talk about, and they talk about things in a way that's just relatable. And when you listen to them, you feel like you're talking to your friends across from you, and they're just hitting record. And so I thought, why not me? I look forward to their videos every Monday and every Friday on Patreon, on YouTube. And it's just 2 hours of my life that I get to genuinely escape. And I'm very grateful for them. And I would love to do a podcast with them someday. They are the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. Another guest I would like to have would be Jeremy Jahns. If you know the name, then you know who he is. I've been watching him since I've been watching Watch Mojo videos in middle school. And he is the first person to ever get me to think critically about reviewing a movie and watching a movie and the substance within the movie. I don't know if he does anything outside of his YouTube channel, but I think it would be so cool to talk to someone who's been in the game longer than I've been knowing of the game and just shake his hand. I think I want to shake Jeremy Jahns' hand. Maybe no alcohol needed. If you know, you know. And then some other ones are going to be some actors. So I'm just going to kind of go over because I just think these are characters that are played things in worlds that I'm into. So Timothée Chalamet, Matthew McConaughey, Hayden Christensen, Simu Liu. I apologize. Those are 4 actors that I would love to sit down and talk to about the things they've gone through within acting, because all of them are very much different actors and they come from all different beginnings. I would love to sit and talk movies with them. And then this one is a little obscure. If you've heard me, if you know me personally, you've heard me talk about the Red Rising world. Pierce Brown, the author of Red Rising, I would love to sit down and talk and just listen to him talk. I don't need to talk. I can listen. But the rumor is they are creating a show based in the world, and I think I want to know what it's like to be an author and have your work adapted into a film. Like what gets cut, what doesn't, because obviously a book is a book and a movie is a movie and a TV show is a TV show. And not that they can't be great, but just the book always just has that little touch more. What do you keep? What do you cut? How do you handle the changes that directors and writers make to your work? I'm very interested in what that would be like. And I think these are goals that I have that I would love to accomplish. And if they can happen one day, they can happen one day. And I can only try my best. So those are the goals I have for the podcast. Without further ado, you've seen it in the title. Fantastic Four First Steps. Let us break it down. So right here, I'm going to talk non-spoiler. I will get to a spoiler warning, and I will let everyone know from there when I talk about the spoilers. But I'm going to give it my score, and this is just for me. I've seen it twice now, but I will count down. I'm going to do 3, 2, 1. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think this movie was a breath of fresh air, and it was something we've never experienced in the comic book world when it comes to movies. We've never felt this sense of family. Now, the X-Men, you could tell they all had each other's backs, but this was a family. These people, and not that the X-Men would die for each other. They would do whatever they can to protect the person right next to them. They would go to the greatest lengths, and they would not let anything happen to their family. You're going to hear me say that word a lot, but it's just the most perfect representation of family that I've ever seen when it comes to a superhero movie. The way Johnny and Ben react to everything having to do with Franklin, they won't let anything happen to him, and they won't tolerate anything. And not that Reed or Sue wouldn't either, but that's Ma and Pa. You expect that from them. Not that you don't expect it from Johnny and Ben, but it's just represented in such a beautiful way. They all slide for each other, which is amazing. You want that in a family movie. And another thing, and this is probably my favorite thing of the movie, and it's weird because I didn't think it would affect me as much as it did, but Herbie. I loved everything about Herbie. I have ordered a Herbie statue, so eventually I think it comes out in October. But in episode X, you will see a Herbie figure right here. Should be this tall. I love Herbie. Herbie was everything and more. It just felt that cute little robot. It was perfect. It was great. The way he sings, and if you know the song that I'm talking about, it just warms your heart. It's so good. The theme of the universe for Earth 828 is so well done, taking place in the 1960s with the talk show and the environment and the way the city looks. I know you have flying cars, but the way that the cars look, they look like 1960s vehicles. And I just appreciate how much effort they put into the details of the world and the coloring of everything. It was so great to have color in this movie. And I know I said that in the Superman review, but they really did a great job of not grayscaling everything and making a comic book movie where you feel the boom, bang, pow. You feel everything just by looking at it. Without your ears, you could see this movie. It speaks to you and just the environment. And I think that's so refreshing. And I really hope they continue this path because this is feedback they have gotten for a long time. And it was great. It looks absolutely amazing. Another thing I would like to thank them for is Johnny Storm. I think it gets overshadowed a lot how smart Johnny Storm actually is. He's an astronaut for a reason. You don't just look good and physically be good and you're an astronaut. No, you have to have the smarts and the wits. And this movie did a great job of showing that off and really showing that he's not just some playboy superhero. Like, he has emotional depth to him that he's never gotten before. And if you know me, you know I'm very critical. I'm very opinionated. I haven't said this officially on the podcast, but I was a big hater, doubter of the cast. If you know me, I'm not a Pedro Pascal fan at all. And I would like to apologize to Joseph Quinn and Pedro Pascal because they did an absolutely phenomenal job. From the minute the opening scene's happening, I looked at Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm and I thought to myself, like, that's the Human Torch. What a great job. Reed Richards, you feel him be Reed as he battles rationality versus logical, like the logical outcome in his, what's the word I'm looking for? Like empathy with everything. He's battling everything at once, choosing what's right from what's wrong, choosing from what he has to do for what has to be done. These battles he has with himself. And I really love how he took it on himself, but then it was like, and again, this family thing, like it very much became like, we're taking this on together. And I think I was wrong. You'll hear me say I'm not wrong. I'm early many, many times on this podcast, but I was wrong. And I won't say that very often. They absolutely did amazing. Everyone in here. Vanessa Kirby too, being, I believe it was either daughter or granddaughter of the original creator, Jack Kirby, of the Fantastic Four comics with Stan Lee. You can't write this any better. Sorry, but it's just, Susan Storm was amazing, and she is the glue of the group. You can tell, like, Susan Storm is keeping everyone together, and not that there was very much like drama between the family, but you can tell she's mom. Like, she takes care of everyone, and Ben is the heart of the group. You can feel every emotion he has, and voice acting isn't necessarily for everyone. And this really shows they did such a great job with casting, even when it came to just the voice of Ibn Mok, because you feel everything. And I know it's CGI, but when you look at him, you feel his pain, you feel his happiness. He does the things for everything he does for the kids, and you hear it too. And it's so easy to get lost in little details like that and just think like, oh yeah, the thing was cool, but like to really feel his pain and share his story. I just can't give this movie enough praise. One thing that I really liked too is how great the powers looked, the elasticity. You really feel Reed stretching, and it looks so well done. It actually I feel bad for Kamala Khan from Miss Marvel because it's just so subpar compared to what we got, compared to what she could have had. I hope they use it moving forward, but this movie was really done so well. I know the Thing just hits things, but his CGI on his body looks good. You could tell with the beard. Invisible Woman, they didn't just make her go invisible and give her like a little glare. No, she went completely invisible. And I know that's super like cheesy to say like, oh, they just pause scene, took her out. But like it feels like she's invisible because she's not there. And it's so good. When she uses her radiation of light kind of powers techniques, when they give it just that rainbow tint of everything, it's so well done and beautiful. And Johnny Storm's heat and fire, it looks so authentic. I would think Joseph Quinn was in there on fire myself if I knew technology hasn't advanced as far as it has advanced. But it looks amazing and it's well done. And I love the practicality they have for everything. When Reed's writing on a chalkboard and his arm keeps going and going and going and going, but he's standing still. I think that's such a small thing that a lot of things get kind of like, you can tell these are superheroes, but they're also people. And they're using them to the highest advantage they can in their everyday life. When the power goes out, Johnny lights his finger or his body. It's nice to see that, like, okay, these people aren't just heroes all the time. Like, this is what, if I had powers, this is what I would do. And I think that was a breath of fresh air. One thing I would like to give credit to as well was Paul Walter Hauser. He played Mole Man, and I loved it. I loved him. I think he deserved some more screen times, and I think they had more screen time. I think they cut it. I heard they had around 50 minutes of cut footage from the film, which it's weird because I think this movie was great and it had everything it needed to have, but it was missing. Every character felt like they had more depth to them in another scene that got taken out of the movie. I don't know where I would add scenes because I do think this was a through and through flushed movie. Very well done, but you can just tell each character had a little bit more that would have put them over the edge. And Mole Man was definitely a character that was cut from this film, as well as the Mad Thinker. I don't think you actually ever see the Mad Thinker. I've seen the movie twice. I did not see him once. They talk about him when they were developing who the Fantastic Four are and what their accolades have been. But I think he's just another character that just got axed from the film, and it's kind of disappointing. And then we also have I apologize. I think that's it, actually. I'm sorry. Spoiler warning. 3, 2, 1. The Galactus. I haven't obviously mentioned Galactus or Silver Surfer. Both were kind of a letdown. I think Galactus is all threatening and powerful and huge and grand scale. And you see him, the first time you see his ship, it devours the planet. And that looks so good. And he feels like a threat. You've already come to the scientific terms and the conclusion, like, we can't beat Galactus. There's nothing we can do. And so you go to negotiate your life and beg. And then they fight him for the first time on the ship. And he doesn't do anything. He's flicking the Silver Surfer around with his finger, but all the Fantastic Four kind of get away. I was very much disappointed in that, and I think I understand you can't just have him win because that's kind of what would happen, but he didn't really fight back. Like, he has all these powers and this cosmic ability, and he kind of was just throwing punches and kicks and chasing them like me chasing my goddaughter when we're playing in the backyard. Tag you're it. I don't know. It was very much lackluster, I think, up until you see him act, like, physically. He felt like a threat. I was terrified of Galactus, and I thought to myself, okay, these guys are dead. Going into the movie, I actually thought the trailers had kind of spoiled everything, especially with a Thunderbolts credit scene, and I thought to myself, this world was destroyed. They were not going to beat Galactus. They were going to escape this world. That very much wasn't the case, and I'm so glad they kind of did that. I feel like Marvel has always kind of led us down this path, like, hey, this is what's going to happen. The trailers kind of spoil everything. And it was really refreshing to kind of not... I was watching the movie not knowing what was going to happen next, and I'm so grateful for that. It was amazing. But with that being said, when he steps down from New York as well, and he's just walking around, He doesn't use his powers, like I said. He kind of just punches and kicks and screams and like, what? With that being said, though, I think Ralph Ineson did a great job as Galactus. There's not much more you can do. Like I said, they made him kind of like, obviously it's just his face, but like when he is talking, you feel his power. You feel like he's a threat. You are terrified. Here comes Galactus, you know? Kneel before all. He did an amazing job. All these actors in this movie did an amazing job, and I can't talk any less of them because there's nothing. They did amazing. But with that being said, too, the Silver Surfer was very much lackluster as well. I'm not a fan of how they portrayed her, and I'm not the most educated on the Silver Surfer. I know the main Silver Surfer in the comics is Norrin Radd. This Silver Surfer is different, but with more or less the same backstory. And it was, she just did the bare minimum. She delivered a message. She doesn't really, it's weird because she's like pivotal to the plot, but she also didn't feel involved. Showing her depth was cool. I think listening to her cry was kind of cool. Like really was a cool take when Johnny had not outsmarted, but just simply like dissected her language and like spoke to her. I think that was really cool and I didn't expect to see it. And I was very enlightened with it. But at the same time, I think it was, she didn't do, like, I wanted to see her do more. I wanted to see her use her powers. She's just kind of skating and kick flipping and surfing like magma and wormholes. Not that that's not badass, but it was a letdown. I don't know what to say. The loyalty when it comes to Franklin as well, and just seeing Johnny and Ben, like when they're on Galactus' ship and they're talking and negotiating, and Galactus is like, yeah, I'll let you guys live, but give me the baby. And then Sue gives Johnny the look. And like I said, they have come to the conclusion that the entire planet cannot defeat Galactus, but on Galactus' ship in Galactus' territory, Johnny was ready to guns blazing. And I loved that. I loved the feel of family that gave, and how Ben looks at Johnny go, and then Ben's on smoke as well. Like, that's so cool, and it's so real. Like, it's so real. If you saw someone you love was like, hey, we're gonna take this guy out, you're not gonna let it happen. And I know that's very, like, how often is that gonna happen to us? We're people. These are comic books. These are movies. But it's just, it felt real, and I loved to see the loyalty. Loyalty's a trait that I put above almost every other trait. And this, like I said, they're a family. It was so well done and well put together. And speaking of Franklin, if you know anything about Franklin Richards, you know metaphorically and literally, Franklin is Marvel Jesus. I'm so excited for what they're going to do with him. I think, without getting into obviously what I'm going to get into in a minute, but just talking of like for those of you that don't know, Franklin thinks something and that thing is real. If he wants to create another universe, he just thinks it. He is, I don't want to spoil too much because I don't know what's confirmed or what's not confirmed, but he outsmarted Reed and Sue inside the womb and was like hiding his powers so that he could try to have a normal life to an extent. And that's how smart this baby is. This baby got all of Reed's smarts plus infinity. Franklin is a genius. And it's just going into what I said I wanted to talk about, the credit scene. Seeing Victor Von Doom in the cloak, holding the mask with his gloves. That's all you see. You don't see his face. You don't see silhouette. You see cloak, hand, mask. I think that was the perfect, and he's talking to Franklin. You don't see him talk, but they're engaged in conversation. And seeing the mask, I know people are let down and they wanted to see Robert Downey Jr. and they wanted to see him do something or take off his mask or do this big grand-esque reveal. I think that would have been too much. I think people are forgetting that we are waiting a year for Spider-Man Brand New Day, but 18 months for Avengers Doomsday. And we have nothing in between. We have a couple Marvel TV shows that are all going to be grounded, but we're going to be marinating in this moment of what Victor wants to do with Franklin for 18 months. Now, the hype is so real. For 18 months, we're going to get creators talking about theories and videos, and everyone's going to be scratching for Twitter leaks and concepts art and set leaks. And like, it's just, you can't not be excited. Like, I'm still curious. I know you've seen The Mask now. Is that even Robert Downey Jr.? I don't know, but I'm so excited to see what's coming next. And I think it was such a great idea to not show him and let people wait, let people sit. We've been fiending for this feeling of what's next, what's next. Well, now we know what's coming next, but we don't. It's just enough to, the hype is so real and we're all hooked. If you're a superhero fan, now is the best time to be a fan because DC is like looking so promising. And I feel like Avengers Doomsday looks promising. I really doubt Spider-Man Brand New Day will have this cosmic level threat. They said it's going to be grounded. The rumor is maybe Mr. Negative, Martin Lee. I think that would be amazing. I mean, obviously, Spider-Man is going to be in Avengers Doomsday when they did the set list actor walkout. But it's just how we're not going to get much if we get anything. If we get anything, we're not getting much. And I'm so excited and hyped, and I think it was the right call to not do more. It was just enough. And it was directed by the Russo brothers, who are doing the Avengers Doomsday movies and Secret Wars, and I'm hooked. As a fan, as a nerd, I am hooked. I'm excited. I'm ready. And that's my Fantastic Four First Steps review. I loved it. I want to watch it again. Truthfully, it was a movie that made me feel like I had a family. Like if the Fantastic Four, if I was in trouble and the Fantastic Four came, I would feel saved. I would feel good. So now I'm going to rank my Marvel Phase 5, 6 rankings. I don't really know. I think everything kind of got blended together. But in first place for Phase 5, I have, you guessed it, Fantastic Four First Steps. I loved it. I think it was a great movie. I think you can tell there were things that were cut and it feels a little, not incomplete because that's just the wrong word, but I think every character just needed a little bit more depth to them outside of Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm. But from what I hear, Ben Grimm had a dating show scene, which would have been cool to kind of give him that like humanized feeling, which he got when he was talking to the, I don't want to say Catholic because they're Jewish, but when he was talking, I don't know, not rabbi, he was talking to the lady. You felt like Ben was a human, and he wanted to feel like a human, and he was reminiscing about him as a child living in the apartment. But it was a great movie. It was a complete movie, and I want more. And I'm excited for the next Fantastic Four movie. And then in second place, I have Thunderbolts. If you know me, you know I love dark things, and The Void was done beautifully. I don't know if I've ever seen a representation of physical depression like that, ever. It was so well done, and you could feel Bob wanting to die and wanting to not be here because he doesn't want to hurt others. He doesn't want to hurt himself. He's tired of being here. He's been hurt his whole life, and now he's been given this opportunity to be something bigger than himself, but it comes with the price of hurting everyone around him. And it was weird because these are characters we didn't care about. Maybe you cared about Yelena. You had a laugh with Red Guardian. We all love Bucky, but these were the characters that were left over, and they gave us a film where, and family's not the word I would use, but like they felt like a complete team. They wanted to kill each other. They started out trying to kill each other, but by the end of the movie, the new Avengers were whole's the word I'm looking for. They developed a bond, and you felt that bond. You watched that bond happen in real time, and it was so well done. And this is going to be a hot take, but my number 3 movie is going to be Brave New World. I loved Brave New World. A lot of people didn't like it. I think I got lucky enough to say that like I had it not spoiled for me, but I went in knowing Red Hulk was not going to be the main bad of this movie. And I was better off knowing that. I think if I would have been going in based off of the trailers and the posters, knowing that like Red Hulk is everywhere, thinking this is Sam Wilson, Captain America versus Red Hulk, Thaddeus Ross, you'll be let down. And I'm so grateful I wasn't. It was a spy movie. Rescue the package, escort the package out, infiltrate. It was amazing. Obviously, we all could have done without that one Black Widow agent who was 4'2". That felt terrible, and I know every single person hated that. But outside of that, it's a great movie. It's a fun movie. It's like an edge of the seat. It was a great first movie to develop Sam Wilson as his own Captain America, and I'm very grateful for that. The next movie I have at number 4 is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, I know this is probably going to be at the top of a lot of people's lists. I can't do that. I am not a James Gunn fan, as you guys know from my Superman review, but this movie outside of Rocket Raccoon is the biggest snooze I've ever seen. I don't care about any character, any storyline going on outside. I can't tell you most of what happened other than High Evo trying to take over and evolve by getting Rocket back. Every Rocket flashback scene made me want to cry and then cry some more. This is just... Those scenes alone are the reason I rate this movie so high, because Rocket Raccoon was done perfectly, and I'll give James Gunn that. He did Rocket Raccoon a justice that cannot... I don't think you could do another Rocket Raccoon project better than that. I think that was the peak Rocket Raccoon experience, but it's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I don't care about what Groot was doing. I don't care what Drax, Gamora, Star-Lord... Yeah, it's really sad with Drax and the kids, and I get that, but I just don't care. They didn't... Whatever. And with that being said, number 4, I have The Marvels, another hot take. This movie was fun. I think people didn't like this movie because, I mean, if you bought into the hype of like women being everywhere and women can't be powerful, like, frick that. These women are badass, and they show it the entire time, and it's not in a way that feels cheesy like everyone's saying. This was a fun movie, and they did a lot. The singing Planet was a little over the top, but I had fun with it. And I think if you went into this movie expecting some Avengers level movie, which is kind of how they led it to be, you'll be let down. But if you went in like just saying like, hey, I want to watch a superhero, this is a good superhero movie. They do everything they need to do as superheroes, ticking the box, connecting superheroes, saving civilizations. And they do it in a realistic way. And the memes behind everything, watching the Kree get nuked, it was sad. And they saved the day, and they feel powerful. Women are badass. If you didn't like this movie, I think you're kind of just a hater. Sorry. And then with that being said, Deadpool and Wolverine's my number 5. This movie was so subpar. If you like nostalgia and cameos, it was fun. Outside of that, the plot's irrelevant. I don't care about anything. Logan's sad backstory is that he drank too much and passed out, and the X-Men got wiped out. Like, do I care? No. X-23 scenes was great. Laura Kinney, Daphne Keane. It was awesome, but it was kind of cameos I don't even care about. It was like, oh, I haven't seen them in 20 years. Big whoop. Deadpool's a cool character. I'm kind of sick of the nuances now. I was tired at Deadpool 2. It's just me, but it's been done over and over again, and they're all the same jokes. The fight scene was cool. The Cavalrine, I'm actually pissed that's not a real thing. That was probably my favorite part of the movie, which is a cameo. Cassandra Nova got nerfed for some reason. It was all plot armor. It was a lot of introducing things because people wanted to see them. It was just a fan service movie that people who appreciate the plot of movies, like myself, I just, maybe I don't like it because I don't want to support what comes from me liking that movie. but I was bored. I didn't care. It was funny, I guess. The opening scene's the greatest opening scene we've gotten in Marvel, but like big whoop. And then last but not least, and this is everyone's last, and if it's not your last, you're wrong. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We set up a threat level for Kang to be the next Thanos. It was confirmed. We planned the next 6-7 years for Kang, and Kang lost to ants. And I'm not talking Ant-Man, I'm talking ants. He got ran over by ants. That's just not going to cut it. Ant-Man is a joke to the other superheroes, literally. So the fact that Ant-Man beat Kang, what are we doing? What are we doing? That was doomed to fail from the start. And I think the only way they can actually correct this is everyone talks about the scene from the comics where Doctor Doom grabs Thanos by the neck and then he's just holding his spine and his skull and he's obliterated all the skin off of him with like, because he could in a millisecond. I think they need to do that for Kang. And I think they need Doctor Doom to really, because they're coming into some developed world where Doctor Doom is developed and they need to establish what he can do or what he has done by showing this cosmic level big bag, or maybe all those Kangs get wiped out with a snap of Doctor Doom's fingers or something. Just something. They need to correct what they did. Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania was a major fail. We need to have it striked from the Marvel Cinematic Timeline and redo. Because I don't know. Because I was a big Ant-Man 1 fan. Ant-Man and the Wasp was subpar. Not the worst. It gets a little more hate than it deserves. But I really feel like that blew it. And I don't know if we'll get another Ant-Man film, which is kind of a bummer. But I understand because that was really bad decision making. So for the MCU to come, we have Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out July 31st, 2026. We have Avengers Doomsday coming out in December 18th of 2026. And then we have Avengers Secret Wars for December 17th, 2027. I'm very excited. I think more things will get added in between Doomsday and Secret Wars. But at the same time, we got to start production on those sooner rather than later. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. If you know me, you know how much I love Spider-Man. Hot take. I think the greatest Marvel MCU moment comes from Spider-Man Homecoming, which I know is not everyone's favorite Spider-Man film. The scene where the roof had collapsed on Peter Parker, and Peter Parker, who has lost his Spider-Man suit, and he's looking at himself in the mirror, crying, begging for help, and just feels helpless. Everything has physically and metaphorically collapsed on him, and he's lost everything. And he's just, with great power comes great responsibility. He remembers who he is. He remembers what he has to do because of the powers he has, and he keeps going, and he never quits. And it was the full embodiment of what Spider-Man and what Peter Parker, who they are and what they need to do. Small tangent. So Brand New Day, I'm so excited, and it's going to go back to a New York level movie. Confirmed castings in the Brand New Day. The Hulk might be the villain. Hulk's confirmed to be in the movie. Martin Lee also going to be in the movie. Something they might do from the comics. No one knows who Peter Parker is. Everyone forgot Peter Parker. In the comics, Spider-Man has had Peter Parker be wiped from everyone's brain, and the Hulk is actually immune to magic. So the Hulk remembered everything. Bruce Banner doesn't, but the Hulk has a conversation with Spider-Man saying like, oh, like I remember you, Pete. And I think that's going to be cool if they do that. Excuse me. I think that would be great. I think I'm excited. Like, and they got the Shang-Chi stunt coordinator. Like, what? That is the best coordinated fights in Marvel, argue with the brick wall. I'm excited. The web slinging. I think this is going to be the first, and dare I say, the best Spider-Man film. It'll be the first complete Spider-Man film where we obviously all agree like Tom Holland is this perfect Peter Parker as a student, as a guy struggling to face his responsibilities with everything, but maybe he hasn't had the best Spider-Man treatment. Um, I think we're due. We're here. We're in good hands. I'm really excited. I think they need to give him some web slinging scenes. The best scene we've gotten from them is from Spider-Man No Way Home in the end credit scene where he's in New York, and that's 3 seconds maybe. So I'm really excited for that. Doomsday. I'm curious. I'm excited because of what just happened with Fantastic Four, but they've got a lot of characters and they're gonna do a lot of things. And the only things we know are the cast and characters. And Doctor Doom right now is having a conversation with Franklin in Earth 828 compared to the Earth 616 that the MCU is taking place in. So we're just marinating. We're just waiting to hear. It's exciting. It's cool. And then we got some TV shows. So later this year, Wonder Man comes out December 2025. I'm going to butcher this, and I apologize for getting it. But Yahya Abdul-Mateen is playing Wonder Man. And if you know him, I know him as Candyman or Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen television show. He's done plenty of other things. But I'm so excited. Or Black Manta for the Marvel movies or DC movies. I apologize. I'm excited. I don't know anything about Wonder Man, truthfully. From what I hear, he's like some movie actor, but also a superhero. I'm excited. I don't know. The TV shows have kind of been hit or miss lately, more on the miss side, but I'm excited, and I will eat, sleep, and drink anything Marvel or DC at this point right now. I'm so hyped. The hype is real. That's going to come out in December 2025. No official date yet. Then we have Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Daredevil is in my top 5 favorite shows of all time. The first 3 seasons are the perfect first 3 seasons of any show ever in a cumulative. I don't know if I actually believe that, but setting the theme for how I feel. Season 3, I think, is one of the best seasons ever done in any show ever. It shows his struggle with God and himself and doing what he has to do because God wills it versus doing what he needs to do because Matt needs it. Seeing that physical battle and mental battle within himself it's amazing. And as he's doing everything, with Agent Nadine and trying to take his city back that has been stolen from him. It's so well done. And with Daredevil Born Again, it picked up where it left off, but there were just so many decisions that a lot of people can't agree on with Foggy, with Muse. I was so excited for Muse. That was almost my spoiler alert. That was almost my comic recommendation for today was going to be the Daredevil not Born Again, the Darkness in Black, Paintings in Black, I believe. I apologize, I butchered that. It's in my room. But it was almost my recommendation, but I feel like I couldn't do it because I don't know if, and I do recommend it, but I feel like if you compare the two, the Daredevil Born Again show just drops in it's hard to watch once you've read what Muse could have been. But season 2 comes out in March of 2026, and then we have Punisher in 2026. Deeply excited for that. I think if you've seen anything, the scene he had where Matt goes down underneath and talks to Frank. Did Froggy deserve death? Or did Foggy get life? Beautiful. I think just that scene right there sets the tone for like everything. The Punisher's great. It's one of the perfect castings ever, up there with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. And then we have Vision Quest for an estimated time in 2026. Obviously, that hasn't been touched, I believe, since 2018 WandaVision. I believe 2018 or 2019. But I'm excited. I don't know what to expect. It's been so long. White Vision is still running around. Jocasta, I heard, is going to be in it, who's like this half Ultron, half female. I don't know. I'm excited. And I think I said it earlier, but right now is the best time to be a comic book fan and be a superhero movie fan, because DC is obviously on the right track with everything they're doing, and Marvel kind of got slapped around because of everything that DC's doing right. And they realized, like, hey, we got to do better, and we can do better. We can't just put cameos in a movie and call it a film. We need substance. And Fantastic Four was substance. Thunderbolts was substance. Brave New World was substance. We're in really good hands, and I'm really happy to be a fan right now. So with that being said, the comic series of the week that I would like to recommend is none other than Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four series. This is actually volume 4. There are 4 volumes in total. If I don't remember if I said this, I believe I did, but Jonathan Hickman is my favorite comic book actor. He's not a comic book actor. He's a comic book author. Sorry about that. But Jonathan Hickman is currently writing Imperial, which has Nova, my favorite superhero. Everything Jonathan Hickman touches is done to perfection. If you were to read any Fantastic Four series, this is the one that everyone recommends. Obviously start with volume 1, but he just encapsulates the power of family and the things that the family needs to go through so well that I don't have high enough praise for Jonathan Hickman. You just have to read his work to almost understand what I'm saying. And I think that's all I got. Yeah, go support your local comic book store or shop online for comics. Let's keep comics alive. It's a form of art. It's a form of escapism. Let's empower one another to find an outlet. And if you've made it this far, thanks for listening. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.